Coach, obviously last year, defense is obviously a team unit deal, but pass rush was a bit of an issue last year, so it makes your guys' job that much harder. How has maybe the workload changed a little bit with the influx of new players back in the spring?
Yeah, I mean, definitely some things we needed to get cleaned up on defense, and it's a Jimmy's and Joe's game, not an X and O's game. So getting the right guys in the right place is the name of the game, and I think we did a nice job. Coach Turner and Coach Dancy and Coach Hutzler and everybody involved did a nice job bolstering the front in the off season, which is what we needed to get done. And when they don't have long to throw it, we tend to cover better on the back end. So it works hand.
I talked to Isaac Smith at Media Days. I told him he's probably the only college football player in the country who wants to have less stats this year than he had the season before. How do you keep his impact on the game high while maybe seeing him have fewer tackles per game?
Yeah. I mean, Isaac will always be right in the middle of it. The thing from a coaching standpoint, or those of us that are living it on a day-to-day, is there's so much value that you can add beyond just the production sheet that you see Saturday after the game. I think that's at every level. There's a safety or a linebacker that's out there that maybe he didn't make 9 tackles or whatever, but he's making sure that everybody's lined up in the right place, and he's alerting the defense to what the offense is likely to do, and et cetera. So, I mean, there's so many ways to be a productive player without it necessarily translating to the statistical categories. And Isaac will always have that benefit. He's just such a cerebral player. Worked really hard at the game, always super well prepared. He's a good quarterback of the defense.
Where do you foresee his role this year? Obviously, he's a versatile guy, Isaac, that can play different spots.
Yeah. I think he said it. I think it's versatile. I think it's different spots. I think, the name of the game on defense is to try to make the offense left-handed. And when we can put Isaac in a position that tilts things in our favor, that's what we're going to do. It's all speculative at this point, as we got to go to training camp and see what shakes out. At the end of the day, it's Coach Hutzler leads the charge, but it's our job as a staff to make sure we have the best players on the field doing what they do best. So
Isaac spoke a lot at Media Days about player accountability after last season, and in terms of him and the other experienced players coming back from last year, what have you seen in that regard in terms of leadership and just trying to right the wrongs from last year?
Yeah, it's been cool to watch the players really take charge of that. Every coach would tell you, probably across any sport, that the best teams in team sports anyway are the ones that are player-led and not fed by the coaching staff. Player-led, not coach-fed. So those guys taking the reins on that is a huge deal. When your best players are your best leaders, good things should happen.
What kind of player is Jerron Marion? What do you kind of see his role being this year?
Yeah, a great one. He's a great player. Was a great player at his previous school, and you see it. You know why he is. He's again highly intelligent, but highly intelligent with also a great work ethic. He works at the game. I tell the guys all the time at this, everybody's fast, everybody's big, everybody's strong, everybody can jump, everybody can cover, everybody can tackle. Your advantage in this game moving forward is 6 inches from ear to ear. If you can recognize formations and understand situational football and have a pretty good idea of what's coming and how, within whatever defense that we have called, how you need to get us adjusted to have a successful down, those are the guys that play a long time. And 40 times and combines and those things, those are fun, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it's 11 on 11 football, and a guy that knows what's going to happen and can communicate that to the defense is invaluable, and that's the kind of thing that Jerron brings.
DeBryce Stewart is a very interesting guy, a very interesting story. I know he can play multiple positions too. But what have you seen from him? What impact do you expect from him?
Yeah. Again, time will tell. It's hard to say exactly what you anticipate from a guy just from a spring. So, reserve the right to form another opinion after training camp. But he's definitely a run and hit guy, super coachable, awesome young man, extremely explosive. Right away, if I was going to say, pound the table and say, this is what I expect him to be a demon for us on special teams at the very least. Obviously, the more that you can prove on special teams, and then ultimately you're gaining additional role on defense or offense if you play offense. But he's a definite run and hit scud missile.
What kind of progress have you seen Stonka make since making that switch to safety?
Yeah. Huge strides, huge strides. But I would just say, the caveat to that is I don't care who you are. If you spent your whole life playing one position and then at a certain level and now you're at essentially the highest level, at least of collegiate football, and you've made a major change in what you're playing, there's going to be a learning curve there. Where did he go from day one to whatever day it was when we left this spring? I mean, enormous leaps and bounds. I'd like to think that progress has continued over the summer. I know that it has. I see it, in the meeting room and things like that. So looking for a big training camp from him, and we just all need to understand that, particularly at safety and linebacker and some of the higher processing positions, that there is no substitute for a guy that's taken 10,000. I mean, how do you become a master of anything, right? 10,000 hours. So, when you don't have as many hours or as many reps under your belt, it's just, there is no substitute for those reps. But we're very pleased with the progress he's made and extremely excited about the future.
How much more comfortable in your mind is Brylan Lanier now that he's back at safety? How much more comfortable does he look there?
Really comfortable. I mean, he played outside for us last year out of necessity. That was another position that Coach Bell and Coach Hutzler and Coach Levy have done a great job making some additions to the corner room, as well as bringing along some younger players and some guys that were here for us last year. I think feel good about that as well.
What have you seen from Donnie Mitchell?
A lot. He's an instinctive player. He's another guy that has some position versatility, somewhere between a linebacker and a traditional safety. Game comes pretty naturally to Tony. Got to stay healthy. That's some things that he's battled in his past at other schools, just staying on the field type things. So looking for a great training camp from him as well.
You mentioned the impact special teams can make. Is Stonka a good example of that?
Absolutely. And that was, I think, the first time I met with Stonka about changing to safety is the goal wall. We put a couple of clips of him. I mean, he had a big hit on a punt cover against Georgia last year, and another one there against a team up north. We just kind of watched those clips and said, hey, man, look, ultimately the goal is to get you to play as fast on defense as you are here on special teams. And the advantage of special teams is in some areas, most areas, it's a little bit less thinking. It's a little bit, you don't have to learn as much. There's just less moving parts. And that's kind of going back to that whole 10,000 hours thing. If you've got 10,000 hours playing safety, all of a sudden those moving parts aren't moving as much. You're just used to seeing it. So, but yeah, absolutely. What we saw from the for lack of a better word, the violence that we saw from Stonka last year on special teams is exactly what we have seen in flashes of him at safety and what we look forward to seeing regularly from him in the future.
What are you just hoping to learn or accomplish with your safeties throughout this training camp?
Learn and accomplish. I'm trying to learn who are the ones that give us the best opportunity to win, and where can we and how can I help them on Saturdays when we're on the field. Ultimately, there's so much work that goes into this profession, and that's on every aspect. That's for a player, for a coach, for support staff, weight staff, nutrition staff. There's so much work, and ultimately we're really judged on 3-4 hours on every Saturday in the fall. So just being as pointed as we can, and understand that it's a big deal to be a guy that we put on the field. That means we really trust you. Because believe me, as coaches, we have a lot riding on it as well. So just looking forward to learn who's ready to play, who can we trust on the field, and then what can we do to support them, give them the best chance to be the best version of themselves.